Welcome. I'm Davine Litwin. Many of you know me as the college chaplain. My friends, we gather here tonight because we need to be here. We need to be together. We have yearned for community, for being next to one another. We need to be here now, and yet our hearts break for the reasons that we are here. As much as we longed to be together, we don't want to be here. To acknowledge the pain and immeasurable losses individually and as a community. We cannot fully articulate our feelings in the wake of the deaths of Bo, Connor, Elizabeth, and Lamise. And still, we have come here tonight to begin to say what we can, to say how much they meant to us, to say that we are a different campus because of each of their lives, and because we are missing them profoundly as we remember them. As we also remember George Floyd on this 1-year anniversary of his brutal murder, and as we remember all those in our personal circles of loss in this difficult year. Tonight, we will light candles to remember, to honor, to lift up, and to hold hope, to see or sense one another's shared humanity in these moments of darkness. And with gentleness, compassion, and care, we will simply pause, listen, and be here together. Students who are among the many friends of Bo, Connor, Elizabeth, and Lamise will each come forward now to begin to share memories and stories.
So this is part of a letter I wrote to Bo the 4th day after his passing, November 22nd, 2020, the day his spirit returned home. I don't know where to begin. I am so relieved that you have completed your journey home. I know you were so excited to see your family, and especially your cat Garfield. So may your eternity with them put you at ease. We all miss you so much, Bo. I listened to a song you sent Ishika titled Them, and it's really beautiful. When I listen to it, I picture your spirit flying over the mountains, returning home. Ishika tells me you didn't know if you believed in an afterlife, but that it was nice to think about. I don't know if I believe in it either, but it gives me solace to think of you on your ranch again, riding a horse through the sage and sweetgrass. Sarah said, that's home for you. Bo, there's so much I would say now. I feel like I could really talk to you if you only came back. Not that I couldn't before, but now all the things I held back and the reasons I held them back are so insignificant. I could tell you anything and it wouldn't measure up. What you shared that last night when we all sat under the stars at the golf course touched me. I distinctly remember going back to my room and remembering I couldn't wait to brag to my friends back home about how I knew you, about how the way you saw the world changed me, and just what an exquisite person you were. I wish you went back to your dorm that night feeling the same way about yourself. Maybe you did. Your heart was big. I remember thinking about how selfless and thoughtful you were. That night, I felt ashamed at my problems because they centered around me, while your problems, for lack of a better word, centered around colonization and issues so much greater than oneself. I remember thinking it took a special person to feel like they had privilege, even though they weren't a white male, for simply being at this college. I just wish I could tell you what a beautiful person you were to me. If I could, I would somehow give your spirit this message so you can have it back home among the buffalo. You changed me, Bo. You changed all of us. You were so incredible, I don't even have the words, albeit the white man's words, to express how much you changed us. There was one day, it was a bad day for me, where we went on a walk into Pine Park. You showed me the treehouse then and turned my bad day into a great one as we cracked jokes and talked about our philosophies of life. I go back to that treehouse. I went there and thought about my worries and fears, growing up, leaving home, things I'm now sure are pretty trivial and that everyone goes through. I can't imagine what you were going through. Thank you for letting me into your life and making time for me. I am so lucky to have known you, Bo. I really am. It hurts me that people will walk this campus and not know of all the memories I shared with such an incredible human being. We will miss you, you incredible, beautiful, caring man of mystery. You will not be forgotten. Indeed, you aren't even really gone. You are here with all of us, most of all, your family. I love you, Bo. Bo touched my life, but I'm just one of many people Bo touched during his time at Dartmouth. We will be celebrating Bo with his family at the memorial, which is currently being planned in person in the fall, where we will further be celebrating him and sharing stories. Bo, we love you and feel your presence every day. Thank you.
My name is Jack Hafey, and I'm just really grateful for this opportunity to speak in front of all of you. How do you encapsulate a person's entire life in just a few minutes? The answer is you can't. There were so many layers and tiers to Connor, and in the few short months that we knew him, we only saw a few, which we collectively hope to share with you today. Connor wasn't only my first friend at college, but the first person I met at Dartmouth. Our walk the night before fall move-in introduced me to one of the most special people I've been lucky enough to meet. As we walked around an unfamiliar campus, me apparently too fast, as he'd end up telling me months later, and we discussed hobbies, siblings, pets, and random other details that arise during surface-level college introductions, I immediately realized how passionate Connor was. There was a certain light in his eyes that was incomparable to anything I'd ever witnessed. His focus evolved over the short time that I knew him, but the fire remained intact. Whether it was about art, current events, the movie Titanic, how to use a rowing machine, or one of the 100 random topics that sparked interest, Connor cared a lot. His passion inspires me every day. I believe that in any context, the best relationships are those full of growth. Connor was my best friend, but he was also my motivator, my teacher, my anchor. His presence encouraged me to be the best version of myself, but also feel comfortable at the worst. His undying support and motivation to help those around him was truly unparalleled in my experience. The, quote, best fall of my life revolved around him. Dartmouth is not the same without his voice, his mind, his love. As painful as it is to have my lifetime with him cut way too short, I'm grateful for his presence in even a snippet of my life, and his impact will last forever. Connor quite literally had a halo. He was the kindest, most compassionate friend. His warm and friendly energy surrounded him everywhere he went. His openness and willingness to listen, learn, and engage were truly remarkable, and I felt how much he cared about me. There's no one like him, and there never will be. Nothing has been the same since his passing, but his memory lives in all of us, and not a day goes by where I don't desperately miss him. He picked up the phone every time I called, responded instantly, and always checked in. He was sunshine personified on earth. I wish that everyone here today had the honor to know and love Connor as I did. The thing about grief is that it doesn't hit all at once, rather in the small moments where I wish more than anything that I could simply be in his presence again. It's hard not to feel as if I took advantage of the seeming inevitability of Connor's presence, his words, his hugs, his selflessness, his very being. Yet, it is simultaneously impossible to ignore the feeling that he never left and never will. I miss you so much.
My name is Eleanor Shafino, and I just wanted to say thank you all so much for coming to listen to us today. Few are fortunate enough to meet their soulmate, that perfect friend, but the instant I met Connor, I knew that I had found mine. We were more than just best friends. We were two halves of the same whole. He brought unparalleled light into my life. With every word and smile, he made me happier, better, stronger. Connor was the kindest, most selfless person. There, whenever a friend needed him, my memories are full of the countless things that he did to make my life better. An unforgettable and unconditional sense of loyalty. Connor was the best person I had ever met, and now I yearn for a presence that is irreplaceable. Connor was one of those people who made sure that you felt comfortable. If we were at a loud table and I was unusually quiet, Connor was the kind of person who would notice, talk to me specifically. He was the kind of person who was more than willing to participate in a Taylor Swift-themed party, even though he didn't like her music. Who would wait for 2 hours to go into a store with us just to not buy a single thing because he knew how excited we were to go. He even gave me his jacket that day, despite the freezing cold weather. How am I meant to go on, now that the one person who would do anything for me is gone? How do I use past tense when he still feels so present in my life in everything I do? My love for Connor is endless and carries on, a never-ending reminder of my fortune to meet him. I never expected to have to miss him, and now I don't know how to. This overwhelming sense of grief has become my constant companion, but what is grief if not love persevering? It's a needed reminder that this perfect person was real and cares for me the same way that I love him. Connor's continued presence in my life is a gift that I will cling to forever. He's still here with me, with us, in everything that we do. Connor, we miss you. We love you. We see you everywhere and carry you with us in the feeling of sunlight, the touch of wind, in every Harry Styles or Lady Gaga song, in the Reese's peanut butter cups that you love so much, and the infamous bachelorette nights. You're in every streak of blonde hair, every vintage purchase, airplane in the sky, episode of Schitt's Creek, and in each and every striking smile. Love never goes away, even if the person attached to it does, and Connor remains a part of all of us. Connor always used to say, "I'd light a candle for you," and tonight we light candles for him. Thank you for everything you have done for us, and thank you for being in our lives. No amount of time with you would have ever been enough, but I'll always cherish what time we did have. I know that we'll meet again somewhere.
Hi, I'm David, and Elizabeth was my best friend. I'm gonna let you all in on a little secret. I am obsessed with Elizabeth Reimer. I guess it's no secret at all, actually. It's really quite obvious. When she was alive, this was all the more true. Everyone I talked to would hear, "Oh, my friend Elizabeth, do you know her?" And if they did, then the conversation quickly became about her dancing or her worms or her life-size Timothy Chalamet cutout. And if they didn't know her, well, then the conversation became about her dancing, her worms, and her life-size Timothy Chalamet cutout. She was just enchanting, indescribably wonderful, so much so that I couldn't get her off my mind. I just had to tell everyone I knew about her. Even my German professor knew about her. I wanted her to meet so many people that I loved and that she would love. You know, she was just that kind of person that you wanted everyone to meet her because you knew they would fall in love with her like you had. But the grimness of this circumstance is that many of you won't get to love Elizabeth the way I did. And I won't get to love Elizabeth the way that her friends at home, Lila, Ava, Gwen, Rachel, Andrea, Jordan, and Sam did. Her memory will live on through the stories we have, so those a few I'll share. It was a surprise to Caroline, her future roommate, and myself, and Elizabeth, how quickly the three of us became such close friends. Every Monday night in winter, we'd celebrate the quote-unquote anniversary of the formation of our little trio and remark how much we'd grown into each other's lives already. On one of these special Mondays, we spent the night sharing all types of things about ourselves, and after hours of the crying and the laughing, we ran outside at 2 a.m. into the developing blizzard. She wore her Harry Styles cardigan and a homemade Danny DeVito mask, and Caroline took photos of her doing contortions outside of Dartmouth Hall and at the Circle K gas station. We got her a big stuffed teddy bear that night because we were proud of her, because she had committed to working on her well-being. She had such a freeness to her. You know, here Caroline and I were bundled up in our winter gear, and she was wearing sweatpants and a tank top and the Harry Styles cardigan. And that freeness rubbed off on me. A Saturday night in February, it was just us alone, and I had decided that it was going to be Lady Gaga night, which basically entailed us going to Circle K and buying Chromatica Oreos. Before this night, I was hesitant with my own fashion, and I didn't own any eye-turning pieces. Her closet could not be more different, by the way. Corsets, mesh tops, 2000s mom tanks, Hawaiian shirts, crushed velvet dresses. She really had such an eye. So certainly I had nothing in my closet to match any of that. So she let me pick out a few pieces to wear from hers. I remember the moment I put on those clothes, this confidence just came over me. I felt that freeness that she radiated. I was now the one running through sub-zero temperatures in a mesh top, singing and dancing my heart out. We danced so much that night. And now I still have those pieces. And they're some of my favorite pieces of clothes. And in reflection, I understand that night as a turning point for me. You see, she just made you love yourself in ways that you didn't even know you could love yourself. She made you love who you were and where you were in your life. That became a regular thing for us. Every time we'd go to late night, I'd be blasting Art Pop or Chromatica, and I'd wear her cow print, like her pink cow print bucket hat. She gave me that freedom. She gave me that freeness. It was so easy to talk to her. Every day I'd walk into her room, and sometimes I do admit it was an accident, as I did live right underneath her and I lost track of the stairs, but for whatever reason, I went in there, she would drop everything. She would drop everything, and she would focus on me, and she'd listen to my stupid stories or my stupid jokes. And every Friday night, she'd be vigorously typing away at an essay or a problem set, but she'd be with me. She'd be entertaining me because she didn't want me to be alone on a Friday. She was such a good listener, too. I had a Zoom birthday party for my dog in February, and she'd only known me for like a few weeks at that point. And I had like a Kahoot on like random stupid facts about my dog, and she won that. She never met my dog, and I guess she never will. But she won it just by listening to me. I mean, that's how good of a listener she was. I would never have to repeat anything to her about anyone in my life, any circumstance. She knew it. Even when the world was giving her hell, she remembered and she listened. She cared so deeply for others. It was her life's work, I truly believe, to make others love themselves. She was in awe of others, though. She was obsessed with everyone on this campus, and I mean everyone, each and every one of you. Where if your name came up, she would have a story, she would have something about you that she loved, whether it was something you wore, something you said, or something you were in the process of. She loved you, each and every one of you. She was obsessed with you. In a way, I'm obsessed with her. I struggled on how to conclude this speech. So I will do what Elizabeth would call a #girlboss move and not end it at all. There are simply too many stories for the period to be here. So in the coming weeks and months, I will ask for a few days on my behalf. Ask me about my friend Elizabeth. If you don't, I'll surely bring her up to you. Thank you.
Can they hear me? Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. That was a little bit scary. Hi, everyone, I'm Francesca, I'm a 22, and Lamise was one of my best friends. One of the things that made Lamise so special was how multifaceted she was. The fact that she was able to play so many different roles in different people's lives. I met Lamise week 1 of freshman fall while taking Econ 1, with a professor that I will not name, but if you have taken his class, you know that it can be a bonding experience. We would get there early, sit in the first row, try to understand what was happening. So yeah, definitely bonding. But our friendship quickly went from spending nights at 2 of B, grinding for our exams, to just hanging out, mid-fay all night, or one wheelock till they kicked us out at 2 a.m., just talking about life, politics, religion, friends, family, our hometowns. For me, Lamise felt like home at Dartmouth. She was my rock. The person I would FaceTime when I was anxious about an exam, an interview, a party, literally anything. It was just so great to have that person that you just know gets you. We were there for each other in our ups and downs. We saw each other grow, work towards our dreams, and achieve really great things during these first 3 years of college. As time went by, and especially during these past few months, I've really appreciated hearing about Lam's other friends and the role she played in their lives. She was clearly incredibly smart, always setting high standards for her own academic and professional goals. I'm confident that she would have ended up running the World Bank and making it a better place. And she was always super supportive, made me trust in myself, and offer the best advice whenever I needed it. She would say, "Fran, these are valid feelings, irrational thoughts." She was low-key a great therapist. But besides all that, Lam was also just really funny. She was a really genuine, open-minded, self-aware person that wasn't scared of being vulnerable, make fun of herself, and just have a good time in college. Lamise wasn't perfect, obviously, but she was amazing. She was human. She was one of those people that you met and you just immediately knew how lucky you were that you had them in your life. And as incredibly sad I am for having lost her, I'm also so grateful that I met her, that we bumped into each other in Hanover, New Hampshire, out of all places, and also that so many others did and loved her all throughout here. Thank you.
In a moment, we will begin lighting candles across the green. The students who have spoken so lovingly tonight, Jonathan, Jack, and Eleanor, David, and Francesca, we are so grateful for the ways you've brought each of your friends to us. And each of the participants tonight will light the wicks of those who are nearest to them, and then we invite each person to share the light of your candle with your neighbors. We light our candles for courage when sadness or fear is present, for hope when there is heaviness on our hearts, and for love to inspire our living and sustain our caring for one another. As we light the candles, we will listen to the beautiful voices of the rockapellas.
Be On this night, when we gather to mourn the loss of Bo, Connor, Lemise, and Elizabeth, we also honor their legacies. Thank you all for being here to share cherished memories and help keep their spirits alive on the Dartmouth campus. 4 precious lives, 4 bright lights were lost way too soon for any of us. I wish I had the words to express the pain and the grief that we are experiencing, but I don't. Words fall short. But from the poignant stories we heard earlier, it's clear that the friendship, intellectual curiosity, and generosity that each of them brought to our community will never, ever be forgotten. Bo, for his kindness towards others, his passion for athletics and the outdoors, and his pride in his native heritage. Connor, for his selfless, caring nature and his interest in medicine, aviation, and art. Lemise, for her love of community and her desire to work in international relations and development economics. And Elizabeth, for her dedication to service and the exuberant joy she found in dance. To see the dreams of these students go unfulfilled just seems like too great a loss to bear. But that's why we need each other and draw strength from our community so that we can see light in these dark times. And towards that end, let me conclude with a few lines from a recent poem by the Pulitzer Prize-winning Native American poet N. Scott Momaday. His poem is entitled, "In the Time of Plague." Death wears a mask, but consider there may be good in our misfortune if we can find it. It's hidden in the darkness of our fear, but discover it and see that it is hope and more. It is the gift of opportunity. We have the rare chance to prevail, to pose a resolution for world renewal. We can be better than we have ever been. Thank you all for being here tonight to honor the lives of Bo, Connor, Lemise, and Elizabeth.
Good evening. My name is Anthony. Friends, we are in a moment of multiple pandemics. On this day, we remember Bo, we remember Connor, we remember Lemise, and we remember Elizabeth. And on this day, the 1-year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd, we recognize the pandemic of racial injustice, the pandemic of pestilence that has continued to stalk our world for well over a year. And the pandemic on this campus and this mental health crisis that we are facing. But we take this moment together in steadfast resilience. And we take this moment as a community in quiet together for our classmates, for our friends, to honor their memory in our hearts. And we honor them in this silence.
from these moments of silence, of presence with one another, of quiet and stillness. We take a few more moments to focus on these small flames, and we acknowledge the end of this day, the setting of the sun, and the hours of nightfall ahead. And we also imagine the return of morning light with the possibilities of renewed spirit, energy, and creation. In the glow of these candles are the faces of our community. Each is unique and precious. Each of us brings more life, more beauty to the whole. Tonight we needed to be together to carry forward the light and love of those we remember in the ways we choose to best live our lives and care for one another. Thank you for being in community. Thank you to the friends of Bo and Connor and Elizabeth and Lamise who shared tonight, and so many more friends and family who are scattered amongst these lights and far, far into the world. Thank you to the Rockapellas for the beautiful, transcendent moments of music, and to President Hanlon for your kind words. As you leave this space tonight, take with you these moments of stillness and caring. Take with you your sense that you make a difference, that each one of us makes a difference. And as you leave this space, we will invite you to, if they haven't gone out of their own accord, to blow out the flame and leave the candle in the metal receptacles around the green. Thank you for being present in community, for being here tonight. We wish you gentleness and loving kindness in each moment. Good night.